Morning. This is Arnie Waters here at Waters Capital in Boston, Massachusetts. Hope you have a great day today and keep trading throughout the day. Gold's up about $30. There are buyers in the room and the situation is moving in gold's direction. But if you've been following our approach, you know that aside from some intraday trading opportunities, we've encouraged our clients to stay long in gold. So you're seeing a restoration rather than an accumulation in through here. Secondly, this weekend comes the holiday Martin Luther King birthday. His actual holiday, his birth is the 15th, and it's being observed on the 16th of January. I hope you take some time from your day to ponder the great changes that this wonderful American brought forth in the United States. The United States wouldn't be the same forward-looking, positive country it is today without Dr. King having lived. So particularly in these times where there are forces that are trying to take us back to the 1920s, that it's good to remember how we got to be in 2011 with all the changes that have been made in this society. So I encourage you to take note of this. There will be an observance of the Martin Luther King holiday, no morning call on Monday. Secondly, in the situation with Iran, we're seeing the situation with Iran is a substantial support to the price of oil. We are seeing this because the Iranian threats to the Straits of Hormuz directly threaten, and we spoke yesterday about how South Korea and Japan are already lightening up on their exposure to Iran. There are sanctions coming against Iran that are going to prove to be even more devastating than the sanctions that have been imposed already because of the nuclear business. But the Chinese remain dependent upon Iranian oil. Even though the amount of Iranian oil they use is now up only 6% year to year, remember, China only has on hand a 10-day supply of oil. So any threat to the Straits of Hormuz is a real danger for China. This is why you see Premier or Chief Dictator or Grand Wazir or whatever he calls himself on his way to Saudi Arabia as we speak. He'll be touring Saudi Arabia and a couple of other countries in order to make sure that he's got an oil supply coming in from that direction as well. Next to last, the Greece is going to have an audit where the private sector, as well as the government sectors, as well as all the European bank forces that are marshaled at the border of Greece, are going to look at what Greece actually owes. So some people believe that the Greek cash deficit is a lot bigger than as we've been led to believe. One consequence of that belief is that we may see some very negative trading over starting next Tuesday or Wednesday and going forward for another week, as it's revealed the depth of the problem that the Greeks has been minimized. And we're now getting some access because we're not relying on the government for numbers. We're going to get some private sector numbers about what's really going on in Greece. Again, part of our view is that the Greek situation can only get worse. The Italian situation can only get worse. The Spanish situation is about to get much worse. And those are all reasons why the dollar and gold will do very well. Lastly, I must comment about an article in Vanity Fair on Mitt Romney. And I found this article most telling because it addresses a fundamental reason. It addresses a fundamental concern. Like most people, most observers, it seems to me that Romney almost always seems forced and ill at ease, that he's trying too hard. One of the 2 points in the Vanity Fair article is that the reason for this is, number one, Romney doesn't care about anybody who's not part of his immediate inner circle. So if you're not part of his family or one of the guys he made money with at Bain, and not even all those guys are included, or if you're not an active Mormon, he literally doesn't care about you. Many people forget that, let me not say that. Let me say this. Romney grew up in a time when he lived a very privileged life. As a result of that life, oddly enough, because of crony capitalism, he got to be in the situations that led him to have a significant fortune today. Romney has had no contact in any meaningful way with people who are not part of a small, homogeneous circle. And he doesn't care about people who are not part of that homogeneous circle. This is something I will talk about this some more at a different time, but this is something, being the nature of the business that I'm in, I'm quite experienced in seeing with people. A fundamental inability to connect with people who don't have high levels of education at certain specific schools and have been friends since they were 12 years old. Right? This is a very common thing. But when I read this in Vanity Fair, it explained much to me. The related point is not only does Romney not care about other people, he thinks he has to fake it. So as a consequence, he's always torn between the fact that he really doesn't give a darn and the fact that he's got to pretend that he gives a darn. And so that phoniness, that phony fakery, is what many people see and find difficult with Romney. So I encourage you to read this whole article in Vanity Fair if you have a chance. It's not very long, but I found it very interesting. So this is Arnie Waters. Aim for the ice floes, not the open water. Have a super day. Enjoy yourself.